Hey guys, what is up? It is your e-girl in crisis, Speedy. So, my little nerdlings, tonight we're actually going to talk about one of my personal favorite DC characters. I have cosplayed as her quite a few times in quite a few different outfits. So I'm talking about Black Canary. Now, with this, we are talking about the comic books only. We are not talking about animated. We are not talking about Arrowverse. We are not talking about Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, the video games, any of the other things that aren't comic books. Because it's already complicated enough with just the comic books. And I don't think people really realize how complicated this character's history is. Because in all, there have been, I want to say, 3 different Black Canaries. The original Black Canary, who was Dinah Drake. The second Black Canary, who was Dinah Laurel Lance. And then the third Black Canary, who was Olivia Queen. Also, Lady Shiva at one point even suited up as the Jade Canary to work with the Birds of Prey. So this is just comic book that I'm talking about now. This isn't even like everything else that we could tie to her. So I'm gonna try to keep it pretty simple, pretty quick. Just your rundown of facts and rambles and the usual. What I do? I don't know, I just ramble and do my makeup and talk about cool shit. Alright, so when Black Canary debuted, she actually made her first appearance in The Flash in 1947 in number 86. She originally was created by, let me look, hold on, Robert Reiner and Carmen Infinito. So, when they designed her, their idea was, well, let's make a strong, badass female character who's infiltrating a gang, has no superpowers. She just wears a leather jacket and fishnets and kicks ass. And people loved it. They loved her. So, she became more and more popular. She's been a member of JSA, JLA, Team 7, and obviously Birds of Prey. But there's been a lot because, alright, Golden Age Canary. Golden Age Canary was Dinah Drake. Now, she had no canary cry. None of it. She was literally just an expert hand-to-hand fighter. So she's the original Black Canary. Black Canary number 2 is from Dinah Drake's marriage to GCPD officer John Lance, or Johnny. So, that's, what we know about. I could go into a lot more about the original Canary, but she's not the one that most people care about or fight about or whatever about. So, they have their daughter. Now, their daughter is the Canary that most people recognize. Dinah Lance, or Dinah Laurel Lance, or even Laurel Lance. So, her metahuman ability wasn't always written as a metahuman ability. Initially, it's because she was cursed by the wizard as a child to have this canary cry. Like, it originally was not a metagene. They retconned it in New 52 totally. They just said, no, we're not doing that. It's a metagene. Silver Age of Comics also as well went on to say, you know what? It's a metagene. It's not anything, weird. Like, she wasn't cursed. What? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Keeping up? Are you keeping up? Because like I said, this is going to get wilder and weirder as it goes on. Hold up. Let me finish putting my yellow on so I don't fuck it up. Because we know I like to fuck up my makeup. Okay. So. In Secret Origins in the 90s, I want to say August 1990, both Dinah and Laurel's stories were told. Like their full origins, everything. They did this as part of Secret Origins, one, to tell the story of the Canaries, but two, to also give fans and readers an easier way to differentiate between them, because both of them were still around and they wanted the readers to be aware, okay, so they're actually two different Canaries. This one's the mother, this one's the daughter. Cool? Are we all there? Are we all keeping up? Sometimes we have a problem doing that. You people know who you are. You know what you've done. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, after that, you get through all that, they do all that. Then, when New 52 comes out, and Canary is a member of Birds of Prey. Now, this lineup of Birds of Prey was already weird from go. I have the whole run. But the initial meshings, shall we say, it was not our normal lineup. It was Starling, Poison Ivy, Katana, Batgirl, Black Canary. Strix, who was a member of the Night of Owls, was later added. You get the point. It was not our usual Batgirl, Huntress, Black Canary, which is what people have grown accustomed to. Because that was the original, OG team. So yeah, of course, that's what people are going to be looking for. So we already have that going on. We already have, within the story for New 52, the Birds of Prey really are not exactly trusting each other this time around either. Between Huntress and Batgirl and Canary, people just seem to be having issues. And Starling and, Canary, Ivy and Canary, it's just a mess. It's a mess of people on a team. And I mean, okay, I love Starling. Don't get me wrong, I thought that was a really fucking cool thing. Whole big ordeal. I won't spoil it for you, but I will say you should read it because it's amazing. I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't, but I also liked how they did Starfire for Red Hood and the Outlaws during this period. So I know, shit core taste. I get it. You hate my taste. It's fine. I hate it sometimes. Anyway. So this is kind of where we learn a little bit more about this Canary to differentiate, the rebooting of the setting, where this Canary is going to fall in, and what's going to separate this Laurel Dinah Drake Lance, or Dinah Laurel Drake Lance, what makes her different from the previous Canaries and all that jazz. This one's backstory I really liked. I'll say it, I liked it. Because it shows that she, when she became Canary, she became Operative Canary for Team 7. They were working on a very hush-hush government mission, as per usual, as you would expect from DC with their secret organizations. But over time of working with this team, she was the leader, actually. She was in charge of infiltration operations. Yeah, that I had to look at because I couldn't remember her actual title. Anyway, that is where she met this man, Kurt Lance. She fell in love with him and she married him. while they were hunting basilisk. Anyway, well, things went bad as per usual, and that's kind of how she ended up back with the Canaries in Gotham and everything. But she hadn't told anybody this little tidbit of information. So, of course, when this comes out, there's even more problems and the birds disband. But that was New 52's kind of retelling of who our canary was this time around. They kind of really simplified it, dumbed it down, took away, okay, we're just going to have one. We're not going to have two. There's going to be one. But later on, it got kind of messy and crazy, and it went into the history of the canary, and they basically had undid everything that they had set out to do. You know what I mean? You get it? Okay. So, that's how they differentiated her. But in Rebirth, they kind of changed her again. I feel like she's just a character that they constantly, they're trying to change, trying to make better. They just kind of end up all over the place with her. And now, people who know me, who know what a big Canary fan I am, find it funny because my younger brother absolutely hates Canary. And I mean, he's a big DC fan. Like, he doesn't hate her in Kingdom Come or anything, but at one point in time, Laurel and Oliver are married in the comic books. Actually, they've been married quite a few times, few different series. You get the point, it's DC. Anyway, they're a couple that's always married to each other. They always end up married together. It doesn't matter what period the story is from, honestly, which is something we can get into. But if I do, I'm gonna hurt y'all's feelings, and I still might. Anyway, so my brother doesn't like Canary because there was a run for a while. I can't remember if it was Longbow Hunters or a little bit after it, to be honest. Anyway, so Laurel and Oliver had gotten married. All of the things. And this was the point in time where Arsenal was an addict. Now, this is pre Killer Croc being his sponsor for being an addict. Yeah, that's right. Killer Croc's the shit. He sponsored Arsenal to help him get sober. Little known factoid. Anyway. So, one thing leads to another. Leads to Arsenal's arm getting cut off, whatever. Oliver killing someone and going to jail. Yeah. That's right. Green Arrow killed a man and goes to jail. Now, this is where my brother's hatred of Black Canary stems from, in all honesty. And I'm not saying I don't see why he hates her, because I do. And I get it. But while Oliver is in jail, Canary actually goes ahead, and she does happen to file for divorce from Oliver while he's in jail. That's what started my brother hating her, was literally because she divorced him while he was in jail. People are free to make their own choices in my mind, and I get it. She thought he was looking at doing life. I'm sorry. I understand. Homie's looking like, okay, I'm gonna be gone for good. And they're superheroes, so they don't have long life expectancies anyway. Then you're gonna send them to jail. Kind of makes sense, but she was like, yeah, I'm a dip, bro. But anyway, moving on. In another version of their story, they actually have an Oliver from a different Earth there because Laurel's Oliver died and they fall in love. In Kingdom Come, which is one of my all-time favorite stories. Long Halloween, still the best, but Kingdom Come is really good, and it's actually not one I had thought about in a while because I just haven't reread it recently. And then I realized I was doing a video on Canary, so went back and reread it, and I am glad I did because phenomenal. If you haven't read it, you really should. Okay, the dream sequence at the end of Snyder versus Justice League is actually really closely tied to some of the stuff from Kingdom Come. Actually, a lot of it you could see where he took the ideas directly from Kingdom Come and brought them into the Snyder Cut, which I hate to admit. I hate it. We all know I'm not a fan of Josh Snyder. John Snyder? Josh. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not a fan normally, but did enjoy the way he did that. Anyway, I'm digressing and losing track of where I'm going with this. So, Kingdom Come, it's really dark, but really good. It's complicated. I don't want to get into it. If you haven't read it, you really should. It kind of looks at the heroes from a really different perspective as to what happens when things don't always go according to plan, we'll say. But, moving on. Neither here nor there. In that, though, we get Black Canary number 3, who is Olivia Queen, the daughter of Black Canary and Green Arrow, obviously. You know, Oliver Queen, yeah, who is using the abilities of Black Canary because it's their daughter. So she's in it, which is just another version of Dinah. You have the version where she has her own band that even in Harley Quinn, it might have been Rebirth or it might have been New 52, I'm not sure. I have the issue, I'll pull it, but she even makes a comment about going to see the band, the Black Canary. And actually in Joker and Harley Criminal Sanity number 7, that is the band that Harley is trying to save. So it's been shown that current Black Canary is a singer. There is a panel, and it's in the first volume of Kicking and Screaming, where it shows her throwing her jacket down, saying, you know, I'm not much of a singer, but I've always been a hell of a fighter. And I feel like it would have been New 52 because they were dealing with finding Kurt Lance, her husband. So it would have been New 52 for that quote. But she does have a tendency to be seen as part of a band. Are you keeping up? Anyway, so we have this information here. Now, I am going to rant just a little bit. Small amount. Don't worry. I'm not going to go totally off. Because y'all are going to be mad because I said I wasn't going to do this at the start of the video and it looks like I'm a liar. Anyway, for Arrowverse, I really genuinely feel that they did Canary very dirty. I know a lot of you are going to be like, what do you mean? Okay. Yes, we had multiple Canaries in Arrowverse. I get that. We had Sarah Lance's Canary, which actually was the closest to the original Dinah Drake Canary. Like, that's who she was the closest resemblance of. Power-wise, ability-wise, she was not superhuman, but she was a hell of a fighter, right? So we have that version, which, cool. Then we had the second version of Black Canary with Laurel, who I really feel like they did her dirty with being Black Canary. I feel like the writers just kind of, because they didn't want to do it, which, fine, okay, whatever, be petty. So, we had those two versions. Then we saw Artemis suit up as Canary, which, honestly, when I saw her wearing that gear, I was pissed. Because Artemis never, even in the animated series, tried to be Canary. Ever. She always was more like Oliver. So, yeah, that upset me. And I was willing to let that go. I was willing to let a lot go. But when they brought Kate Cassidy in as Black Siren, and they had a little scene of her being referred to as Sujajek, I was so excited because that name comes from the time when her and Lady Shiva, Black Canary and Lady Shiva, had switched places. Like, not switched places, like, it was a discussion, like, hey, you do this and be a canary for a little bit and see if, that changes your view on things. And I'll go do your Vietnamese training and all the things and see if that changes my view. Well, the experiment ended within a few weeks because of a child named Sin. You're probably like, wait, there was a Sin and Arrow. There was. And it was the Sin that was affiliated with Sarah Lance. However, when we see Black Siren, and they referred to her with the name that Shiva had given her, I did get a little bit salty because I was like, well, if they were going to do that, they should have, really done that and taken it there with Earth 2's Laurel, not the original Laurel that they killed, just because, why not? Yeah, still mad that they killed her. So anyway, back to my rant. And they later introduced Dinah Drake, and they had tried to pass her off as a canary, which, while okay, stellar performance, I don't hate her as an actress. She just was not at all, to me at least, what the Canaries before had been. And it didn't make a lot of sense. The character in general to me seemed to not make a lot of sense. However, when they had Black Siren suit up as Black Canary, I felt that as a fan, we finally had the Black Canary we should have had from the beginning. It shouldn't have been anything else. And even her relationship with Oliver is definitely pretty accurate of how their relationship had always begun in the comics, that they weren't friends. They weren't getting along at first. She didn't like him. In any version that I've read, she has never initially liked Oliver, and Oliver's never really initially been a fan of her other than oh, okay, she's hot. You get what I mean? So we had it. And this is where people are going to get mad and be like, well, you can't say that. Yes, I can. It is my channel. And with it being my channel, it's my opinion. And I am of the opinion that while Felicity Smoke was an interesting character, hold on. She's an interesting character, but her relationship with Oliver Queen never should have been what it was. I think she would have been a cool character for them to keep around and have handy, because basically, yeah, this is another thing that's going to get me in trouble. Hold on. So. Now, most people have only ever seen the show. They have not read the comics, so they don't really understand my whole rage with this, but they really tried to do the Batman story with Green Arrow, and I don't know if it was because of rights or whatever, but to me, it translates to, okay, so in Arrowverse, Felicity would be Batgirl from the Batman comics. You know, they had Oliver facing Ra's al Ghul. So, I get that people like Felicity because she was an original character, but she, at the end of the day, still was not even that original, because she was doing everything Barbara Gordon did. And Barbara Gordon slept with Batman, so Felicity sleeping with Oliver, you get where I'm going with this. So I always felt from go that they did Laurel a little dirty. But comic book wise, I think she has been one of the most interesting female characters. She's got a lot of dynamic there, be it from the 1940s ones where it's her mom, or the ones where she has sin and she's just trying to figure out how to protect this child, or even with the death of Oliver Queen, how she handles Oliver being killed, her dynamic from being a member of the JLA and how she fits in with everyone there. So, has she done some shitty things? Abso-fucking-lutely. She really has. And no, I don't agree with my husband. The shitty thing she did was divorce her husband in jail, because, baby, sorry, I ain't waiting 25 to life. And as a superhero, you have even less time. So no, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I disagree with that being the reason she's a shitty person. No, if you read the comics, you can see where she's really kind of good at being a shitty person. But she's one of those heroes that, alright, so she's human. She makes human mistakes. She has flaws. At the end of the day, she's still a good guy, and it's still a hell of a good story. Like I said, Kicking and Screaming. There's 2 or 3 in that series. I have the series, but that's a really good one for newer Canary fans, or even older Canary fans that just were like, they're changing her again. Yeah, they're gonna do that. It's comics, people. But Kicking and Screaming, pretty damn good, pretty damn interesting. It goes more into the White Canary, because there was also 2 White Canaries at one point. Birds of Prey, Brightest Nights. It's either Brightest Nights or Death of the Oracle. You see White Canary for the first time, and she actually was of Asian descent. She wasn't like Sarah Lance. And she was trained by Lady Shiva. After, long story short, basically Canary screwed up her life as a child and Shiva trained her. So she came after Canary to kill her. So that's your first white canary. Your second one was Laurel fighting herself, kind of, question mark. Then you also had from Amikami Girls, you have white canary in that too. So she's another one. The canaries, they're all very interesting. I love Lady Shiva, so of course when they did her as the Jade Canary, that to me was huge. I was like, alright, this is fucking awesome, and I'm here for it. Especially because she ends up going Cheshire out of a fucking helicopter, like, yeet! Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this rant. Have an excellent day, weekend, night, whatever it is when you're watching this. Take it easy, and I am sure I will pop back up. Maybe it'll be a horror video next time. Maybe anime, Marvel, video games like some Mass Effect. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go. Take care. Bye.